legs and hips and body. Hey y'all, this is my review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 4. Crazy how Kandi has gone viral for an awful song with a beat that sounds like it's straight out of Legends from the Hidden Temple. Like, I have been laughing all Sunday. And of course, you know Kandi Keep a Check Birds is going to try to capitalize on that some way. But anywho, this episode was a fun, shady one. I'm so happy that I am back on schedule this week. You know, I don't have double reviews to do. Before I get into the video, I just want to say I am not too proud to ask for donations. Ain't too proud to beg, no. So if you want to donate to the channel, I'm trying to get a new laptop and a mic for Pop Bros. So if you want, you can donate at Cash App, $CDiggy1, or Chris-Diggins, that's my Venmo. Just letting y'all know, support a ninja if you want to. Now, let's get into the episode. So we open the episode with Marlo. She's overlooking a lot she just purchased, and she plans on building her home from the ground up. Gee, I wonder why I saw that storyline. And here we go with Shady Production starting already. They really are the 7th housewife on this franchise. So they show another house that's being worked on in the shot, and they put not Marlo's house. Thank you, production, for clarifying. So then we have Kandi and Shere joining Marlo, and as they're pulling up, Marlo tells the contractor, oh yeah, I got some friends to come over. One took 20 years to finish her home, and the other one's still working on it. Then afterwards, she's like, hey girls. Oh, Marlo, don't change. So basically, she invited Kandi and Shere to just learn what not to do when building your own house. So then they're all looking over the floor plan for Marlo's house, and Kandi notices that her closet is going to be bigger than her entire master bedroom. And she's like, Marlo, you don't see anything wrong with that? Even the contractor, he's like, Marlo seems not to care if she got a tiny bedroom and a massive closet. Would y'all care? Let me know in the comments, because that doesn't seem normal. Kenya also seems like she knows what she's talking about when it comes to building homes. Well, she has been building her home forever, like Shere, but at least her home is paid for. It's just unfortunately 100 meters below sea level, so she better hope there's no floods in Atlanta. But anyway, it seems like she's trying to make it known in her Kenya fashion that, oh, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to houses. Like, I think she wanted Marlo's contractor to compliment her on it. Marlo keeps saying how grand she wants this house to be, how she wants huge gates around the house. The contractor's like, just has a sarcastic look on his face. I wonder, since this episode has aired, has there been any progress on that lot? Or is it just a bunch of sticks and grass, like Neverland Part 2? So the contractor leaves and it's just the ladies talking, and they're just giving her little critiques on, where the land is. They're saying Marlo, this is pretty far from Buckhead for you. You seem like a Buckhead person. And then she acknowledges, well, Buckhead is super expensive, which it is. She says her finances won't allow her to build in Buckhead, which I'm surprised she kind of said that on camera. But she said, I'm not as rich as y'all think I am or tell me I am all the time. They're like, Marlo, you're the one that tells us how rich you are. Followed by production providing receipts to that. And now Kandi and Marlo going back and forth. Marlo says she's tired of people wondering where her money's coming from. But Marlo, you came on the show like that. Of course people gonna ask where your money came from if you have 6 or 7 mugshots out, not nan business to name. Like, if I saw Kandi pull up in a Beamer, I'm like, okay, it's Kandi. She has jobs. Like Marlo, she says she has men's that pay for her lifestyle. So now it's like, you're single, how are you paying for this? You came on the show like that. So now the topic moves to the ladies' upcoming trip to New York. Shere says she might be seeing her felon since it's in the 100-mile radius. Kandi says she's absolutely not seeing Mark. I mean, I'm sure it's the other way around too. And the Drew and Shere drama is also brought up, and Shere says she knows how to be cordial. So next scene, we're with Kandi and Todd, and of course, they talking about their many businesses. As they're walking in their neighborhood, they get into it over Todd's condo, which at one point he shared with his ex. I think he wants to flip it and not sell it. Kandi's like, why don't you just sell it? Because when we go to New York, I'm not going to be staying there. I don't really get why Kandi has a problem with it. Like, if you flip that into a nice house, like you can rent it out or sell it for a nice profit. It's not adding up to me what she has a problem with it about. And Todd thinks it's related to Kandi's ego, saying that this is something just for him to work on and she's not a part of. They talk about it later in the episode amongst the groups, so I'll save my thoughts on that later. We then find out when they get to New York, they're going to visit the property with everybody. Next scene, we're with Drew and her toxic husband, Ralph. We're at their residence, and they're expecting their therapist to come over for couples counseling. We see some of Drew's assistants running around the house. Production is labeling them like assistant number 3, number 4, number 2. Why does she have 4 assistants? Why? And what does Ralph do for a living? Okay, he works in technology for Fortune 500 companies. What is his exact title? That's what I want to know. And what does she do outside of Real Housewives of Atlanta? Is she booking gigs? Like, I think I would be interested in seeing Drew as her storyline, looking for work in Atlanta. We see Garcelle sometimes, making deals on camera. Why can't Drew? But again, poor man's Megan Good. Anyway, speaking of assistants, we see that second sissy assistant. We see that second sissy assistant. He walks into a room. I'm guessing he didn't know a camera was there. He hurries up and rushes out. Apparently he's on probation. And then we cut to Drew being asked by production, like, what does that mean exactly? She says the way she runs her business is to have him on probation and, let him know that these things aren't okay. And if he continues, they get fired. I don't know. I don't think she told Ralph about what her assistant said because it's just really weird that he's still working for her. And ooh, does he look bummish on camera when he walks into the room and hurries up and rushes out. I see why he rushed out, because he looked a mess. So now we're with Drew and Ralph talking to the therapist about that disaster dinner from the other episode. Ralph says he feels like Drew does not respect him. He got her a nice steak and lobster, calls her ungrateful, and says she deserved a Lunchable instead. Like, do they like each other? Like, have they had any scenes where they were like genuinely in love that didn't follow with a fight or an argument? They should get a divorce if they're not acting, which I think they are acting. I feel like they're putting this on for the check. So this crackpot therapist has the idea for them to do 30 days without any combative conversations. I think this is stupid, so they shouldn't disagree at all for a month on anything. I don't know what that helps. But the kicker is the penalty for breaking that is 24 hours you have to be that person's servant. And he gives an example. If Ralph wants sex 5 times a day, she has to do it. So basically a partner that disagrees becomes a slave for a day. Groundbreaking. Groundbreaking therapy. Where did this therapist get his credentials from? Is it from Pookie and them University online? So next scene, we get a montage of some of the ladies packing for New York. We then get a Kandi and the Gang crossover with Patrick in his floozy safari dressed in fetish wear to deliver gifts on Kandi's behalf. We see Safari legs and hips and body. Like, the body is banging on Safari, but they are in broad daylight in fetish gear delivering dildos. Ooh, Kandi, you ain't right. You ain't right for that. Parking lot Patrick doesn't say a word in any of the scenes. But we see them arrive at Drew, Sonia, and Kenya's residences. And the gift that they got is vibrating panties with a remote control. Very Kandi. Cut to Kenya in her confessional. How about a playbill? I fell out when she said that. For real, what does this have to do with the play they go and see? I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of agree with Kenya. Like, I love Kandi, but her product placement on this show is becoming ridiculous. Like, they're already going to see the play that she's producing. We've seen OLG. We're going to visit Todd's condo property. And now it's the sex toys. Like, Jesus. We then see some of the ladies calling each other, talking about Kandi's gifts. They're wondering too, like, what does this have to do with the play? And you know Marlo's smartass has something to say. But I cannot believe that she is now going through her panty drawer on FaceTime with Drew, just showing off her panties. Fast forward. So next scene is the morning of the New York trip. It's 5 a.m. and it was Kandi's idea to get a sprinter for everybody just to meet in one place so they all get to New York at the same time. Smart, because these ladies run on CP time. So Kenya gets on the bus and she noticed all the couples. She was not made aware that it would be a couples trip to New York. But then production, they flash back to Kenya's daughter's birthday party, and Kandi did say that the spouses weren't invited, so maybe Kenya just wasn't paying attention. As they're all headed to the airport, Kandi lets everybody know they're going to stop at Todd's condo while they're there. That's in Jersey. I'm not really sure why they're all going to see it, but her reasoning is she wants their advice to see if she's overreacting about him keeping the property, which I think she is. So they get to New York, they all arrive to the hotel, they're having lunch, and then Kandi and Todd makes a game out of who gets the second penthouse suite. And the game, of course, is sex related, and they want to know who has the best sex story. The best sex story wins the penthouse suite. Now, I gotta say, for Kandi to be such a freak, it really doesn't line up with Todd complaining about only having sex 2 to 3 times a week. Because it looks like Kandi loves her some sex, so I would think they're having it every day, the way they talk about it. But anyway, Kenya tells this sex story that involves a dead coyote, and she wins the room. Later on, we're with Sonia in her room for a bit, and she's talking to her husband about questioning Drew's character. From what she's seen, how she's treating Shere, that isn't the Drew that she knows, so she's just been looking at her funny lately. And I'm sure there's going to be a blow up between them at some point about this. And speaking of Shere, we're with her as she goes into Marlo's room while she's getting glammed up, and she tells her, you know we got to be out of here by 4 o'clock, right? Marlo is like the audience. She's like, why are we going to Todd's furnishless condo again? She tells Shere she thinks the only reason they're going to the condo is so she could keep an eye out on Todd. Ooh, Marlo is so messy. I can totally see her and Kandi getting into it later in the season. And you know Miss Bone Collector Shere ears perked up when she heard that. Marlo also tells Shere that she thinks Kandi needs to see a therapist about her sex addiction. Again, Marlo, please don't change. Meanwhile, we're in Drew and Ralph's room, and Drew is talking about her beef. It seems like she still hasn't told Ralph that his name came up in her drama with Shere. Next scene, they're all in the Sprinter headed to Jersey to see Todd's condo. Kandi takes this time to explain her case to everybody why she thinks Todd should sell the condo. Cut to messy Shere in her confessional saying the streets is talking when it comes to Kandi and Todd. Production then plays a flashback of Portia versus Kandi when she was accusing Todd or Marvin of cheating. Kandi does admit on the bus that she has insecurities when Todd goes out, which I find very interesting. Like, what does Todd do when he's out that would make Kandi think that he would cheat on her? But God forbid they ever split, because they have so many businesses together, like they would be in court maybe for more than a year. And then Mama Joy should be like, I told you so. But anyway, Todd's actually making a case for himself on the Sprinter, and everybody's actually agreeing with him. Especially when he says Kandi doesn't like it when she's not the focal point of something. Like when he's finally doing something on his own and she's not attached, she has a problem with it. Now, Kandi's rebuttal to this is she strategically says that, all the work that she does, it helps them to do other ventures that they want to do. Thankfully, we have Marlo cut to her in her confessional, and she gives it straight with no euphemism. She says, oh yeah, Todd has some good ideas that'll blow up, but without Kandi's money, it's not going to blow up. And this is what I think Kandi was trying to say in a nicer way. Basically that all these jobs and gigs that she does helps finance Todd's business ideas, so she don't have a choice but to be a part of it if it's her money that she's putting into it. I just think Todd has short man complex. Like, he don't like being the idea of a kept man, like Diana's man on Beverly Hills. He wants to have his own shine apart from Kandi, even though Kandi is the star. But to each his own. So now they arrive to the condo that's in Fort Lee, New Jersey. I was very curious to see where this is, so I put it in Google Maps. It's only like 25 to 30 minutes away from the city. I don't know what Kandi talking about, like, oh, it's so far out. Like, girl, it takes longer to get to Brooklyn or the airport. Like, she needs to just put her pride to the side and let that man flip the house if he want or keep it. We do see this empty condo has potential to be flipped, and Kenya, she literally puts her construction hat on and suggests what Todd can do and add to the place. She even hints to be added on the project. Now, that's good and all, but what is Kenya's credentials, and background on flipping houses, contracting houses? We see Kenya and Kandi going upstairs. Meanwhile, we're with the other ladies, and Marlo looked like she ready to go. She says that the bootleg contractor, Kenya, she's doing the most right now. But after seeing the condo, most of the women are on Todd's side about keeping it. So they all finally arrive at dinner. They're sitting at the table. Sonya knows that Kandi nor Drew are wearing their wedding rings. Now, Kandi says she just don't wear her wedding ring like that, but we definitely see Todd have his wedding ring on. And I'm pretty sure if he didn't want to wear his ring, that would definitely be a problem to Kandi. As for Drew's excuse, she said that she got pregnant, and then afterward, her and Ralph weren't getting along, so she just didn't put it back on. We do see Ralph wearing his ring. Now, after she says this, I'm not sure why Messy Production goes all the way back to her first season to show multiple instances where she didn't wear her ring. I'm not sure, is this contradicting her? Let me know in the comments. I was wondering, why did they add that? It seems so messy too. Lord, and since Drew telling her business about therapy, the ladies ask about the assistant. But she brings up the assistant that Ralph fired. Anywho, they're talking about the female assistant that offered Ralph a massage. Ralph is again giving his bullshit excuses, but this time Kenya calls him out on it and actually says he reminds her of her ex-husband Mark. I swear every time Ralph speaks, he digs a deeper hole for himself. So then we hear Kenya telling the other ladies that the way Ralph is talking to Drew is the exact same way Mark used to talk to her. So then cut to production, who uses the same black and white movie reel of gaslighting they did for Ralph, and they do it for Mark. And then they call it the original gaslighter, the prequel. And then we see all the instances where he gaslit Kenya. Production is on one. I enjoyed that part. And they added the music. It's truly beyond messy, but I forgot how big of an asshole Mark was. But back in real time, Drew and Ralph are still going at it. Kenya interjects again, and she's making some good points, but then it gets a little spicy because Ralph is kind of laughing Kenya off, and Kenya is not having that. But then Marlo interjects and calls Drew out and says, at some point, you're just as guilty as Ralph is because you're allowing him to continue to treat you like this. And Marlo has a point, but again, I think that they are acting right now for a plot line because at this point, the way he treats her, she should have been divorced him. As they're calling Drew out, they say that she never lets things go, and she also doesn't really acknowledge when she's wrong. So when Drew hears this, she's trying to play dumb. But then Kenya says, now Drew. Kenya then brings up her fight with Shere at the table, which we knew was going to be inevitable. Drew is on her BS though. She's saying, oh, well, when you bring somebody's husband into it, it's different. Kandi interjects and quickly reminds her that her assistant is the one that she should be mad at. Drew then says, well, I don't really have any proof to that. Shere pulls out her phone with the receipts, and she shows Drew the text that Anthony sent her about her husband. Shere tells Drew she's not making it up, and then she tells Ralph he said that you were gay. Ralph is like, wait, what? Drew's face is like, why didn't she tell him this happened? So now Ralph is blindsided, Drew is looking stupid right now, and then everyone's just looking side to side now, and that is where the episode ends. Another fun light episode. I'm not as engaged as I am in Beverly Hills, but definitely entertaining. Can't wait for next week because it looked like, some shit hits the fan. I'm also wondering how long are they going to milk this storyline that they've had for at least maybe 3 or 4 seasons. I'm trying to think, is there any other standouts with the episode? Legs and hips and body. But yeah, y'all, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Again, the Cash App is $CDigging1. Venmo is Chris-Diggins. And also make sure y'all click that little bell at the bottom so y'all notified whenever I have a new video up. With that, I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.